In this video, I want to show you a very simple opening that will light up your day, especially if you are bored or don't have a good opening prep against your opponents, even in a serious rated tournament. So you begin with e4 and then black plays e5, then knight f3 and knight c6. The move you want to play, as always, is bishop c4. Now in this position there are two popular responses, bishop c5 and knight f6, that most black players respond with. We're going to look at both, beginning with knight f6, the two knights defense. Now hold on, the main area of our meat in today's video is this move, pawn to d4. So why pawn to d4? First, I find this to be somewhat forcing if you think about it, and just a quick way to confuse the enemy. By the way, playing like this will take most of your amateur opponents out of their comfort zone, hence increasing their chances to blunder. Trust me, your opponents will play ed, after which you can safely castle short to sacrifice your second pawn, which I believe most of your amateur opponents, even advanced players by the way, will take, cause after all that's the top played move even in the Lichess database. Now, this is when you simply play rook e1, pinning the knight to the king, and black will most likely respond with d5 to protect the knight and also attacking the bishop. But guess the move you should play in this position, just to confuse the enemy and also in order to increase your opponent's chances to blunder. Let's go. Guys, believe it or not, with all your toes, the best move in this position is bishop takes d5. So this is a sacrificial game. After queen takes d5, you follow up with knight c3, knowing black can't take your knight because you're gonna take their hanging queen. Knight c3 does not only attack the queen, but also puts more pressure on the pinned knight. So definitely you're going to get back your piece with tempo. They most of the times play queen a5 because what else do they know? Question, which piece do you take back with? Is it the rook or the knight? Think about it. Let's go. Well, positionally speaking, you are supposed to take back with your knight, not with your rook. Why? Answer, because at worst you want to checkmate black in two like this. Note that this is a double attack, so the only move black can play is king d8, after which you deliver a checkmate in one. So that's why you take back with your knight and not with your rook, just giving your opponent one more chance to blunder. This is what you're supposed to be doing against all of your opponents, especially amateurs, because amateurs and intermediate level players are not good at defending. Trust me with all your stomachs. At this point, black plays bishop e6 because they just want to castle long. And now this is when you can simply go knight fg5. Why? Because you simply want to take the bishop with tempo, and this kind of forces black to castle long. Of course, there are so many things that they can do, but castle long is the best. Say, why not defending the bishop like this? Well, that would be a blunder of the century, because now you can simply sacrifice on f7 with your g knight, and say after king takes, you go knight g5 check, also attacking the bishop, and wherever the king goes, you take back with your knight, leaving black with a bad position on the board. Besides, it's just a matter of time. You're going to take on c7, threaten to capture the queen or the rook. If rook takes with check, you simply take back with your queen, and after something like queen f5, you develop your bishop to complete your development. How are you going to rescue your knight? Well, there are so many ways. For example, if bishop d6, you simply have queen e8 check. That doesn't make sense. And if something like king f7, again you have queen e8 check and rescue your knight. I mean, there's just nothing that black can do to stop you from rescuing your knight. Again, you have queen e8 attacking this knight, and it should go back. Then you simply go knight e6. So your knight on c7 will always be safe in this line. And that's why back on move 10, after you play knight fg5, you won't see your opponents defending their light squad bishop because it's a sheer waste of time. They mostly castle long, after which you just simplify the game like this. And this is one reason I like playing the Anderson attack in the Italian game. By the way, also coming from the Scotch Gambit. At the end of the day, you want to play those openings that are easy to understand. And how do you equalize material? Because you are still down a pawn, right? Well, see that you are one move away from double attacking the two rooks. So black plays something like bishop b4 here, attacking your other rook. So you just go rook takes e6. That's how you equalize material. And after something like rook h e8, you simply go queen g4, wanting to do a little discovery, and king b8, bishop f4, easy chess. Now I should mention to say this is not winning for white, but at least the undersend attack helps you get out of the opening stage safely while being in control of the game. You want black to play on your terms. Now say, Casper, what if black takes on d4 with a knight? Well, this is very bad, as it only allows you to sacrifice your bishop on f7 with check, taking away black's castling rights, and then you go knight takes e5 check, so that whatever black does, you then pick up that knight, equalizing material. Now of course black can play pawn to d6 in this position, but where is their king? So once again, the whole idea is to be in control of the game. Let your opponent answer to you. You don't want to be playing what your opponent wants. But before I proceed, what's wrong with your eyeballs? Can't you see the subscribe button, you guys? Simply move your elbow connected to your thumb that presses on the phone or on the laptop, whatever. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more exciting videos. And also support my partners, these guys, the Ask Chess GPT group that sponsored this video. It's just a YouTube channel that allows you to ask them questions directly to get video responses or video answers. If you have a chess related question, simply head over to the comment section. You will find the link that will direct you to the community chat where you can ask anything related to chess and expect to get video responses as soon as possible. Now, after reaching this Italian position, you won't always see your opponents developing knight f6 on move number 3. In fact, the top played move here is bishop c5, the Gioco piano. I still want you to play this move just to keep everything simple, you know, not playing slow chess like the Gioco pianissimo, you know, waiting for black to make a mistake. This is you just trying to have fun and speed up things. So the way you start is by playing d4, and black has 3 ways of recapturing on e4 if they take with their e-pawn. There are 2 exciting continuations, by the way, knight g5 and the other one is pawn to c3. My favorite is pawn to c3 in all honesty, and here you just want black to take on c3. The moment they do that, again you just go ahead and sacrifice your bishop on f7, making them lose their right to castle, and then you go queen d5 check. And wherever the king goes, you just play queen takes c5 check, and after d6, you just go queen takes c3 period. Once again, you have more open lines. You are just one move away from developing your bishop, your knight, and then castle long to continue playing actively. The goal is to be ahead in development with many open lines and to continue attacking your opponents. The more you attack them, the more you increase their chances to blunder. That's the word of the day. Now, after d4 and pawn takes, then you play c3. It's not guaranteed that your opponent will always take on c3. No. In fact, the top played move in the master's database in this position is knight f6. And this is where you want to take, frankly speaking, on d4. And wait a second. The moment black plays bishop b4 check, guess the move that you should play? Yeah, I know you are looking at knight c3, knight d2, and also bishop d2. Why would you do that? Anyway, I want to introduce a new move to you guys. In this position, king f1. Once you play this move, I advise that you look elsewhere and leave the board with hands in your pockets, disrespecting your opponent, because what is about to follow is evil. Your opponent will be looking at the move pawn to e5, and to avoid this, they will play one biggest mistake, which is pawn to d6. The moment you see this move, it's time to celebrate because you're going to win a free piece after pawn to d5. And whatever black does, say knight e5 in this position, you start with knight takes e5 taking the knight, and after they take back, you go queen a4 check. That is going to win the bishop. That's a simple trick. Wait a second. This reminds me of one trap in the Evans Gambit. Once again, after bishop b4, just go king f1. Say, what if your opponent doesn't play d6? Let's say they just go ahead and take on e4. Now remember, the goal is to attack in order to confuse the enemy. The more we attack, the more we give them many chances to blunder. So the move I want you to play is d5, attacking the c6 knight. Say, what if they play knight a5, counter-attacking the bishop? Well, now we attack the other knight on e4. Say, what if they just retreat the knight back to f6? Well, now we attack the dark squared bishop. What if they play bishop b7? Well, now we attack and trap black's knight on a5. These are openings that you play to increase your opponent's chances of blundering. Not that black's knight on a5 can't go anywhere. It's just trapped. In fact, what most people do here is just taking on d5 shamefully, and then you take back your piece. Anyway, say after knight takes e4 and pawn to d5, what if your opponent doesn't play knight f5? Say they go knight e7 in this position. Just like before, what I recommend is to play queen d4. Who are you? Queen d4 not only attacks the knight, it also threatens to capture the g7 pawn, so black will play knight f6 in most cases, after which you continue with pawn to a3. Should black play bishop d6, the top played move, you continue with bishop g5, because if they castle short, you're simply going to double up their pawns and capture on f6, leaving them with a bad pawn structure. So they most of the times play knight g6, allowing you to take so that they can take back with a queen. At least you both won't have queens on the board, but now you have time to develop your queen's knight on c3. See, all that black has been doing from the word go is defending and answering to your questions. These are openings you play in order to improve your chess very fast. In this position, after knight c3, black has no time to attack your dark squad bishop with h6 because you're simply going to give a check with your rook on e1, and then after bishop e7 blocking the check, you're going to win at least a pawn after queen takes f6. So in this position, most of your opponents are going to be castling short. And now what? You have all sorts of things to do, one of which is knight e4. I wouldn't mind playing this, putting more pressure on this knight, but the most mature move is h4. That's why we do not castle short. In other words, that's why we put our king on f1 so that we leave this sniper rook on h1 controlling the h file and also supporting our h pawn. In this position, if h6 is played, you just continue with h5 because what else do you know? Attacking the knight. In fact, taking the bishop is bad because after h takes g6, we have an open file for our rook. Next, we're going to take on g5. We have knight e4 on the board. And should black take back on g6, by the way, they have this bad pawn structure on the king side. In fact, here I would play bishop d3 to keep on attacking. All we have been doing from the word go is attacking. In the Italian game, all you ever want to be doing is attacking, and attacking, beginning with the move pawn to d4 on move number 4. And if black ever plays the Gyoko piano, bishop c5, the top played move by the third move, again you just simply go pawn to d4. It seems like e takes d4 is not really a good move due to knight g5 or pawn to c3, my favorite. One more line, if not knight f6, where you're supposed to take and put your king on f1, the other move you're going to see is pawn to d3 and sometimes pawn to d6. Well, let's say pawn to d6. Well, pawn to d6 is like a self-made trap to me, because once again, after c takes d4 and bishop b4 check, I just put my king on f1 and wait for black to blunder. If black ever plays a move like bishop g4, the top played move, or knight f6, once again I have this move pawn to d5. Who am I? Once again, winning a free piece after pawn takes and queen a4 check, bam. Anyway, so never be scared of pawn to d6. You will see them playing d3, giving back a pawn. This is when I just castle short, and there's a reason. I want to play in the max range attack style. For example, after knight f6, I go pawn to e5, and if knight g4 for some reason, I just sacrifice my bishop on f7, and after king takes, making them lose their right to castle, I go knight g5 next with check and then take the knight. Again, after knight f6 and e5, if black plays pawn to d5, a more logical stuff, or the max range attack common trap does not work in this variation. I mean, where we win the dark squad bishop. If you want, put that on Stockfish. It doesn't work. So don't take on f6 in an effort to win the dark squad bishop later on. The best thing you can do in this position to maintain your advantage is to play bishop takes d3 while ensuring that black's knight is still under attack. So they play knight e4, after which you can play knight bd2. You want to take. Should they develop their bishop, here you can even play queen e2 or queen c2, just adding more sword to the wound. At last they are going to take on d2, after which you simply take back, also attacking the bishop. After bishop takes, you take back like this, and then after they castle short, you still go knight g5 because you want to mate. If pawn to g6, you go queen h3 because you just want to checkmate. That's all you want. This will force them to play pawn to h5, so you simply go rook a e1, protecting your e5 pawn. And after something like bishop e7 here, attacking your knight? Well, you can go f4 if you want. I find that to be aggressive. And then next you go pawn to g4, just open the king side, or simply go queen g3, maintaining your advantage so that if bishop takes, you take back with your bishop and all that. What if black takes on d4 with the knight? Well, knight takes e5 is decent, but I find bishop e3 to be forcing because we are indirectly attacking the undefended bishop. Should they take with check, just know you are winning. And this is what most of your opponents are going to be doing, by the way. Knight takes f3 check allows you to take back with tempo because they can't take back due to checkmate. If queen e7 defending both, well, first of all, you take that bishop, and after queen takes, you go queen takes f7 check, king d8, and queen takes g7. Yes, if they take your bishop, you checkmate like this. That's why after d4 and knight takes d4, I find bishop e3 to be more interesting due to this checkmate sequence. Again, if knight f6, you have knight takes e5. This is even worse because nothing can stop you from capturing on f7. Not to mention that the knight is now under attack like for real. So in this position, after knight f6, black is going to lose a piece. So after bishop e3, we've seen that knight takes f3 check and knight f6 are both bad moves. What about pawn to d6? Well, this is not bad. Instead of taking right away, what I would do here is setting up this trap, beginning with pawn to b4, because it looks like black can just take my pawn. Well, after this, I can go pawn to c3. Now I want to win one of the pieces. It's very difficult for your human opponents to find right moves in positions like this. For example, after knight takes f3, you're winning after queen takes f3. Once again, we are back to this checkmate sequence, and black can't save the bishop if they want to keep on playing. So pawn to b4 is just a tricky move to play if black plays d6 in this line. But the best thing you can do here is just to take the knight and then take with the bishop, just play normal chess. Pawn to b4 is very aggressive. So it turns out in the knight takes d4 line and bishop e3, the best that black can do is to play queen f6, just to stop you from setting up that checkmate sequence. Well, honestly, after queen f6, the best you can do is just to take on d4 with your bishop, and after ed, you go e5. After queen g6, you simply castle short. Then after knight e7, you play moves like c3, so that if pawn takes, you take back with your knight while developing a piece. They'll castle short, and then you continue attacking. Remember, the word of the day is attacking. You always want to attack. Instead of e takes d4 and knight takes d4, if black takes back with a bishop, well and good. They just give up their bishop pair, and after knight takes d4, again you go bishop e3, you'll play knight c6, then you play knight c3, say knight f6, then you simply castle short. You can even start attacking on the king side in advance if you don't mind, because in the near future you're going to castle long.
Welcome to Ask Chess GPT. This is the place where you can submit all your chess-related questions, whether it's about openings, chess traps, puzzles, or tactical problems, and receive quick answers in the form of short videos. To ask your questions, simply head over to our partner's Patreon page by clicking the link on our YouTube homepage. Join the free membership to start posting your chess questions, and we'll do our best to answer the most interesting and engaging ones in a short video, plus give you a shout-out. For those who want priority responses and more frequent shoutouts, you can also subscribe to our partner's Patreon page with a paid membership. Here's how to ask your first question. After clicking the link on our YouTube homepage and setting up your free membership account on our partner's Patreon page, go to the Community tab. Agree to the chat guidelines, then navigate to the Ask Chess GPT chat. Type your chess question, like this one. How do I checkmate my opponent in the opening stage in 2 moves? In response, you might get something like this. To checkmate your opponent in 2 moves, assume you're playing black and your opponent opens with the Barnes opening by playing f3. After this weak opening move, you can push your pawn to e5. If they follow up with another poor move, like g4, you can checkmate by playing queen h4, winning the game in just 2 moves. And that's it. We look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to subscribe to help us grow and continue improving our content.